Whether you keep them in your home or love to see them in theirs, these are the creatures that bring us all together.
Reptiles. We're going to be delving into the experiences of reptile lovers from around the block and around the world. This is the Reptile Talk Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jeremy Turgeon from Brassman Reptiles.
And I'm Robin. I'm creeping real.
What the hell was that?
A magic trick.
Okay. Okay. Hi, Rob.
Greetings, Jeremy. How you doing?
Usually there's a dance for those of you listening audio only in a couple days. Usually there's a dance that happens. Today it was just like fingers very close to the camera, and I don't know what was happening, but yeah, that's fine. That's cool. Changing it up a little bit, but we're also we're kind of twinning right now, bro, with the US Arc shirts.
I almost wore that one, but I
really
like the green one. I like the green one a little bit better. So I usually I feel like I'm bringing out the good stuff tonight.
I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. When Mark and I started dating, after a couple of months, he was like, "Do you have any other shirts?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And it was like every photo that he and I had taken happened to be on days that I was wearing this US Arc shirt. And he's like, "I feel like you don't have any other shirts." And I was like, "I promise you I do." But
you're like, "It's called style. Look it up, okay?"
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man. How are you doing, Rob? What's new? Anything new happened this week?
I did some more herping this past weekend. That was cool. I always am hyped when I get to spend some time in the woods. And I took a video. I think you saw on Instagram. I posted a video of me like petting some water snakes, and there's like 3 water snakes hanging out on this log, right?
Yes.
That was at the beginning of my hike, and when I came back, they were still sitting in the same spot. So I like sat with them for a minute, and then I like was leaving. But then I see a big group of people walk right over to the area where they are, and I'm like, oh man, this might not be good. And so I just kind of like hang around for a minute, and they're like all like looking, and then like one of them notices the snake, and he's like, "Oh damn, there's a snake there." And I'm like, "Oh boys," and so they're like taking pictures, and I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." And all of a sudden, I see him go grab a big stick, and I was like, "Oh no!" So I like run over there, like, "Hey, there's some snakes over here. They're harmless. Leave them alone." And they're like, "Nah, those are copperheads." And I was like, "Actually, they're not copperheads. They're northern water snakes." And he's like, "No, I'm sure they're copperheads." And I was like, "You're wrong. You're wrong. Yeah. They're not copperheads. They are northern water snakes." And there was one still chilling there. So I like grabbed it and picked it up. And I was like, "See, this is a water snake. This is not a copperhead. So please don't hurt them or kill them. Put your stick away. And here, do you want to touch it?" And so I talked to them for like 15, 20 minutes to just be like, "Hey, you are in the woods. Please don't kill the wildlife. This is their home, not yours." So, yeah. I mean, all the snakes live, so I'm not
okay.
Not
all right,
because,
good.
Yeah, they're all okay. But man,
good
I was
Lord.
nervous.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Rob, for saving Nerodia this week. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
that's why I would have busted through like, "Crikey, don't touch it! It's just a snake.
Don't touch it. Look at its beauty. Like, scoop it up." Yeah. So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Today was a big colubrid breeding day, so paired up a bunch of snakes today, which was wonderful. And anybody who breeds Lamprepeltis knows that occasionally you have things try to eat each other, and that happened today.
Uh-oh.
So I had some Mexican Black Kings literally chomping on each other's heads. Now, mind you, everything's been fed. They've been out of brumation for quite a while now. They've been fed up. Females are starting to produce follicles. It's the time. It is the time. Apparently, this one female Mexican Black King wanted another week's worth of food or something before breeding happened, and she tried to eat the male. Ironically, the male is larger, but so we saved that. That was cool, and paired up some Cal Kings, which is always also potentially sketchy. Mm-hmm. I had 3 different sized pairings happening. My largest pair of Cal Kings, totally fine. Yes, at the same time, because I'm
Why
absolutely
would you do
a
that?
nutcase. I had a decent sized female with a younger male that I was watching very intently. And then I had like an average sized pair of Cal Kings. And I was on the phone with my partner, Mark, who is here in the chat right now. Hello. While I opened up a drawer that that had a female almost fully consumed a male Cal King. So I had to deal with that. And no, for those of you who may ask, I did not film it because I was more concerned with saving my snake's life than creating
And making content. Yeah, for real.
So
Jeez.
poor little guy experienced quite an interesting, probably 5 minutes of his life, almost being totally consumed. But we saved him. He's doing all right. So hopefully we're going to give him some time off. We're going to let him have his experience and give him some time off. But yeah, outside of that, things have been great.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. So corn snakes breeding, Puebloan milk snakes breeding, all that stuff. And yes, my Mark was making bad jokes at the wrong time while all this was happening, and I'm just like, no, you don't understand. I've raised this male for years. I love him. He's very cool.
And he almost got eaten.
And he almost, yeah, exactly. She basically swallowed him whole. It was absolutely, it was ridiculous. But yeah. And unlike the Mexican Black Kings, that when that turmoil was going on, they're thrashing around because they're like, no, you're not going to eat me. I'm going to eat you and whatever. This Cal King was just like, well, it's been a good run.
Yeah, I gave up. Yeah, just if I got to die, this is how I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Yep. This is what I brewmated for, was for this moment.
Reminds me, I got to bring my corn snakes up from brumation and start feeding them.
Mm-hmm.
It's about that
I
time.
will say in the 12 or 15 years that I've kept and bred Cal Kings, I've never lost an animal. Never lost one to cannibalism. So we're keeping that record. We got close. We got close to one day with an incident here. But yeah. Oh, that's a terrible joke, but also really funny. In the words of TD Jakes,
oh, no.
Have you ever been swallowed?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
If you know, you know. But
before we get too far in, want to shout out our sponsor, Black Box Cages. If you're looking for a new cage or rack, make sure you check out blackboxcages.com. They got lots of customization options. They got pre-routed enclosures so that if you are running anything, lights, heat panels, actual light fixtures, they can accommodate everything. They're incredible. Love them. Big shout, blackboxcages.com. Make sure you check them out. And
do it.
I'm loving my Black Box Cages. So
heck yeah. Same. Yeah, definitely go check them out. I'm excited. I've got some new cages coming in from them in about a month. So I'm looking forward to that. Yep. Carpet pythons. Every carpet python. You get a cage. Every carpet python gets a cage. But yeah, that is all that's happening over here, is snakes trying to eat each other just because I'm trying to breed them. But
I got another couple weeks before baby scrubs start hatching out. So
yes,
it'll be fun.
Heck yeah, dude.
Weeks? 3 weeks.
Heck yeah. I'm here for it. Did you see, mini tangent for just a second? I think it was Nick Lillis at Unlimited Exotics produced the Quince monitors.
Oh yeah. I saw those. Yep. Yeah.
I was like, finally, somebody has paid attention to Quince monitors.
This has got to be his second clutch then, because I saw that he hatched them out a couple months ago. They're tight.
Yeah. It's awesome to see folks kind of getting into. So I don't remember if it was him or somebody else who also just did peach throats in the States.
Oh yeah. Yep. I think it was him too.
Yeah, so that is super cool. I that popped up on my news feed a little while ago, and I was like, that's actually awesome.
Hell yeah!
But sweet. Well, I'm super stoked for tonight's episode. I know we've got a handful of folks in the chat who are excited for tonight's episode. If you're on YouTube at all and looking at animal content at all, you've probably seen this man's videos. It's kind of impossible not to, especially when they trend on YouTube all over the world. There are so many different things to talk about with him, but let's get it started by just saying hello. Let's get him in here. Mikey Bustos from AntsCanada. What's up, dude?
Hi, guys. Good evening, guys. What's up?
How you
What's
doing?
up,
Thank you for
man?
having me.
Absolutely.
Really
And it's
Right.
also, thank you for being here early, because it's morning for you. While it's evening for us.
I mean, it's about 8:12, exactly 12 hours from where you guys are.
Oh wow.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So you guys are winding down for your evening, and we're beginning our day here. So it's perfect.
Yeah. Perfect. So this
Just
is
woke
a
up.
hello from
You
the
can't
future.
smell my breath.
Heck yeah, man. Well, we're super stoked to have you on, man. Thank you so much for taking the time.
You're welcome.
Sweet.
This is great. I love nerding out with animals because I kind of have no one around to nerd out with. As you guys were talking about your snakes, I was just like, whoa, awesome. Rumination and all of that, like stuff I completely forgot about.
I love it.
Yeah, it's cool when
Yeah.
you get to talk to people who are also like in a little bit of a different venue than you are, because it's like, when you're so narrow focused, or like not narrow focused, but when you're so focused on something, it's easy
Yeah.
to like get so keyed into that you're like, oh yeah, there's things that do this and do this and do this, and people do things all different all over the world basically. So it's like I love talking to people who work with something that I don't personally work with, or like stuff that's like adjacent, because then I always learn something new.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, out here in the tropics where I live, creatures go into hibernation around now, but it's because of the heat.
Oh yeah.
For like
Yep.
2 or 3 months, they like retreat underground and they estivate. It's kind of the same thing, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Anyways, here we go.
I love it. So Mikey, for those who don't
Yeah.
know about your journey, what got you into keeping ants and building vivariums and stuff?
Yep. I started when I was really young. Maybe I was maybe 5 years old. I probably owe it to my mom, who created kind of like she had this little box, and she threw in some dirt and threw in a few plants and like grabbed a few isopods and bugs and threw them in. And I was just fascinated from there. So I've always been into creepy crawlies and animals. I've had all kinds of animals growing up. You name it, I've had it. And ants in particular, I just loved. Like back when I was a kid, when magazines were a thing,
Yeah.
I had a National Geographic magazine that featured bull ants from Australia, and I knew immediately as a kid that like these were my things. So I kept ant farms as a kid, and I just kind of like did it into adulthood, and it just I never left the hobby.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I love that.
That's so cool. Did you have ant colonies when you were younger? Like, because I know, like when I was younger, they would have like those mail-in ones where you get like a little
Yes.
rectangular thing, and they send you a little pile of ants in the mail, and like, did you ever have those when you were younger?
I did, yes, the Uncle Milton ant farms.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, actually, and that's usually what starts all of us in the hobby. Really, we get the mail-in ant farms, but mine arrived dead. Like all my harvester ants arrived dead.
No.
So it was just so easy. It was easier to just dig them out from the ground. But they never come with a queen. So that's, I think, what made the difference for me as an adult when I realized through YouTube that you could have a queen ant and have your colony perpetuate in an ant farm for years and years. And I owe actually the Germans for that, because in Europe, ant keeping was always a big hobby, like before North America.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
Heck yeah. Have you guys had ant farms ever?
So,
I have not.
I had one very briefly, but my mom is really, really afraid of ants. So we weren't allowed to have ants. We did spiders instead. So we had tarantulas,
Awesome.
and my mom loves
Sweet.
spiders, but she is very afraid of ants. So her friend gave
Interesting.
my sister an ant farm for like her birthday or something, and my mom was like, "Why would you do this to me?" But we mostly had tarantulas. So I had tarantulas all growing up, but it was like, it's
Wow.
same but different.
Same thing. Invertebrates.
Yeah, exactly.
Very
That's
neat.
so cool. So what?
So yeah.
Oh, go ahead. What were you going to say? Something?
No. Go ahead. You asked.
Oh, okay. So what was the draw into creating vivariums? Was that just like the evolution of the ant farm design, or was there a bigger draw?
Well, yeah, it kind of was. So it was actually a pivot of content on my channel. So for those of you who haven't watched the AntsCanada channel, it started off really as just tutorials on how to keep ants, which then evolved into a storytelling edutainment channel about ants and different ant colonies. So I had been doing that for years. I would say it had to be 12 years.
Wow.
That I was doing content like that. And then during pandemic, we content creators like kind of had a peak, right? In all of our, I guess, social media stuff. And then after that, I found the AntsCanada channel was kind of struggling. Over the years, I had done like so much ant content and was almost running out of ideas. I was repeating ideas for videos, which is okay. I love doing that. It's my hobby. But viewership was kind of declining, and it almost felt like, never gonna reach the peak of pandemic anymore. And that was kind of like, the channel was kind of going down, and I was almost ready to sell AntsCanada. So what a lot of people don't know is that when your channel gets really big, companies will contact you to buy your channel.
Yeah.
It's almost like an exit strategy / retirement for YouTubers.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that idea was slowly creeping in, and I was really sad. I was thinking maybe with that money I could start a new channel on birds or other animals, because I've got a ton of animals here. I'm passionate about all kinds of animals, just like you guys, right? So yeah, I decided one day, I'm gonna try something that I did when I was a teenager, which is create a vivarium, which is basically an enclosure which is naturalistically designed and kind of have a community tank, and keep ants and that kind of thing. But to do it on a large scale like that, this is over 1,000 gallons behind me.
Wow.
So I just did that thinking, okay, this is going to be something I wanted to do anyways. It's something I've always wanted to do, but never had the chance to. It was a big risk because, of course, I do ants, and I didn't think my community would be open to maybe something like this. But turns out it just almost gave the channel a second life. And now the channel's doing better than it's ever done, like even better than the COVID days.
Really?
So, yeah, it really worked out.
Cool.
I was this close to just giving up on the AntsCanada channel. And isn't it funny that in life, when things are like hitting rock bottom, that's when all of a sudden like life swoops in and goes, actually,
yeah, absolutely.
Here's your saving grace. So yeah, that's how that started. So I've been doing the Pandora series, the Ecosystem Vivarium series now since December of 2024 or 2023 actually. So it's been over a year and something.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's been great. It's been harder. Videos now are 3 times harder than what I used to do. But it's definitely fun. It's really great. So that's how that started.
I love it.
Thank you. Do you guys have bioactive aquariums, right, for your reptiles? Like isopods and springtails and yeah. Cool.
Not for the snakes
Yeah.
though. My snakes would ruin them.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
right,
snakes,
right.
The snakes would, not enjoy it. But
Right.
well,
Yes,
I would say
right.
they'd enjoy it too much, is what I should say.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, let me climb on this, crash. Let me climb on
Yeah.
that, destroy. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Right.
See,
And then
I
you
could-
have to worry about like parasites and that kind of thing too, right? Like bringing in
Yeah.
all kinds of like fauna into your tanks. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
basically. Yeah, I could see the scrubs doing cool in an enclosure like that one behind you, because like they're a bigger snake, and so if you put some like big branches for them to perch on, they won't ruin everything. They would. I mean, I'm sure that they would. There'd be some plants that got that had to donate their lives to the scrubs sitting on them, but
Yeah.
I feel like overall they would do really well in an enclosure like that.
That's cool. Yeah. Why are snakes so anti-plant? Even my green tree python. Like I've had him for 10 years, and no matter what plant I put in there, he smothers it and kills it.
Yep.
They will not tolerate plants. Yeah.
Yep. It's so true. They're
You're
like,
like,
no,
"You're
I just want the
green."
branch. Yeah, I just
Yeah,
want the
you're
branch.
green,
That's it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And online, there are all these like instructions saying you should house your GTP in lots of foliage, and like they
Yeah.
like it hidden. Like mine, no. And he's going on 10 years. He just likes it plain branches. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a simple snake.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how a lot of people keep them too, is just branches, and they seem to do okay. So
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh man. So what's so doing bioactive enclosures in general, there's always some level of challenges, right? With either with the microfauna establishing, or larger scale kind of going up from there. What are some challenges that we might not think about when doing large scale vivaria, like the enclosure that you've got behind you?
Yeah, well, so one of the things I wanted to say first is this tank here is not really a pet tank. Wanted to make that, I've been trying to make that establishment right away, because there are parasites and mites and all kinds of things in here that affect the fauna inside.
yeah.
So a lot of the comments I started getting as I launched the series was, why didn't you cook the decor, or why didn't you disinfect, etc.? And I said, no, I actually need all of this stuff. I need the fungi. I need all the parasites. I have also a wetlands vivarium to my left here.
Oh hell yeah.
And even for that, people were like, the fish have ick. There's all kinds of fungus. You should have cooked this and that. I'm like, no, I kind of need all that microfauna. So I don't recommend keeping pet reptiles in ecosystem vivaria.
Yeah.
You kind of have to almost like regulate and simulate like a semi-wild enclosure if that's what you want to do. But it can't be fully wild where you're bringing in like decor unsanitized inside.
Right.
And I like what most hobbyists do, where they actually just introduce isopods and springtails. At least that way it's kind of like controlled. Whereas here, it's literally just scooping soil and throwing it in. And I don't recommend people do that for their reptiles at all.
Yeah, I think it's
Right.
interesting because it brings up a really good conversation of like nuance in the way that you keep, because a lot of people think that they've got it all figured out, and they're like, well, you're bringing this thing in and you're doing this and you're doing this wrong, and it's like, actually, for what I'm doing, this is perfectly fine. It might not be okay
it's
for
part of the
what
project.
you're
Yes.
doing, but the way that I'm doing things and the way that my ecosystem is working out, this is exactly what I need. And I feel like a lot of people on the internet have a tough time having a nuanced conversation like that. They think
Yes,
that, like,
yes.
this is the way that it's done. You can't deviate. from that.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I've met all kinds of communities actually through this series. Like the reptile guys, I'll meet the tarantula guys, and recently the fish community. Wow. I love that they're all passionate. Yeah, I love that they're all passionate. And the way I see it is it's kind of like parenting. Everyone has their own style of parenting. So I guess it comes with the territory. Do you guys get any like flack on how you guys care for reptiles, or
Always.
your philosophies on reptiles? Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, right.
Always.
So it's definitely nuanced. Exactly what you
Yeah.
said, Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that for certain people, it can really get under their skin. And I always
Yeah.
tell those people, like, if that sort of stuff gets under your skin, maybe like content creation is not for you, because there's always going to be
Absolutely.
somebody who's got some negative opinion about the way that you're doing things, and you're doing this wrong and you're doing that wrong. And if you take those to heart at every comment, it'll drive you mad. It can really
Yeah.
hurt your feelings. It can really like get to you when I've been keeping tarantulas my whole life, and I've got some people who are like, "Oh, you can't use mulch inside of your tarantula enclosures mixed with your other stuff because it's going to hurt them when they molt." And I'm like, I've been using this for 20 years, and like when they molt, they lay down a nest of web. They don't ever touch it. Like it does not
That's
come in
right.
contact with them. So like,
That's right.
what is your problem? Like, if you don't want to use it, that's fine. But I'm doing it. It's okay. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these people, I think, are just running into your content for the first time.
Yeah.
And then you have a ton of younger, newer hobbyists who are making all kinds of mistakes. And like, it's really about those kind of people, I think.
Yeah.
They kind of people might classify you in that category. But yeah, the trolls are definitely part of the game.
Yeah.
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 But it's
100%.
engagement.
It's
It is.
engagement.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is absolutely engagement. I actually had to do a live 2 weeks ago, like a literal live stream, which I don't usually do on my channel, to address a whole bunch of issues that I kind of like over a year's time, like listed down and had to address. And it really helped. A lot of times, some of these people just want you to show that you actually care and have thought about things.
Yeah.
And I usually don't address the hate, but in that case, it really did help.
Really?
Yeah. The live has a few 100,000 people who attended, and then it also brought out the people who support what you do and support your way of like raising things. Because a lot of people just watch and they're not part of the drama.
Yeah.
But because comments are full of bashing and hating, as a creator, we have that illusion that, oh my God, a whole mob of people are after me, but they're just a loud minority.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So,
Rob, do you remember the amount of times we would have to tell Kevin, like, stop reading the comments? It's okay.
Yeah.
oh, it's so hard. Yeah. It's hard. Yeah. Literally, like, just don't visit the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the first hour, maybe, because those are usually the people who are like really there. They got the notifications on, so they're watching it right as it comes out. Maybe you read those comments, but after that, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, I it's not worth it a lot of times. Like, I'm the type of person where, like, if somebody says something negative, I'm like, whatever, I don't care. Like, that's just they're gonna have that. But like for some people, it really gets under their skin, and so I'm like, just don't read it. Just don't read it at all.
Yeah,
don't even go there.
Yes.
Just let it be its own thing, because you're gonna live a happier life if you just do. Because your animals are the proof in the pudding that you're doing what you're supposed to do, right? Like, if this person said that you're doing it wrong, but your animal is nice and healthy behind you, it's like, who are you going to believe? This random person on the internet, or the thing that you look and work with every single day? Like, come on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Basically.
And I remember when we were kids, like, I mean, if we had the internet back when, like, I was a teen, I would definitely be one of those, like, trolls.
Yeah.
You're doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Because you're anonymous, right? That's another thing. Remember, as young adults and teens, we would feel like so. Oh, sorry, I'm much older than you guys, so. Yeah, for sure. But back in those days, I remember as a teen wanting to be an adult, and like kids now have the anonymity of the internet. So I mean, it's almost dangerous.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a free for all space.
Yeah, but like back when I was like, a teenager, late teenager, when I finally got like the internet in my house, but like forums kind of were a little anonymous, so you didn't use your actual name. You can kind of get in there.
Oh yeah, like, forums, right? Yeah. Yes.
I think you're that much older than me. Come on now.
Age is just a number.
That's
But yeah,
true.
I mean, but kids are important. So like, I also feel like at some point there is, as educators, as wildlife educators, we do kind of have that responsibility to also address and correct, right?
Yes.
Like a good teacher corrects.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I also feel like in the creator space, I don't know how much you might experience it, but in the reptile world, we have some of our content creators that are super high energy, super dramatic with stuff,
Yeah.
and that
Yes.
tends to get a lot of the drama and chaos in it as well. And there's a lot of people that are
Hmm.
like, they shouldn't exist, or this is a giant problem, or whatever. And like
Yes.
the way I
Yeah.
usually approach it now is like that shock and awe might be what catches somebody's attention,
Correct.
but
It's their entry.
exactly. So then it's like for everybody else that's down the line, that's when it kind of falls into place for us to be like, okay, cool. Like I get why you saw that and why that interested you, but like this is kind of how it really is on a day-to-day basis without a lot of those frills and stuff. So it's almost like a necessary evil, so to speak, to at
Sure.
least start getting new people through the social media age.
Absolutely. Like everyone needs an entry into the hobby. I actually even don't consider those creators evil. It's really their niche in the ecosystem of like social media and reptiles and the hobby. It gets them in.
Yeah.
AntsCanada as well. I used to get a lot of flack for, sensationalizing and the drama, like
Mhm.
but I feel like, yeah, I used to do the tutorials, all of those plain straight out hobby centered tutorials. But then it shifted over into people's gateway into the hobby, and I'm okay with that niche.
Mhm.
So like people, you need them, right? Like you need, who's an example? You need the J prehistorics and you need the Tarzans. And you need that because kids, it's what the algorithm, it directs audiences to the hobby. And then they want to see more. Like eventually that drama gets a little much. And then they realize a fire like starts inside them. And then they want to start researching and then they find the other channels. And so, yeah, everyone kind of has their role I think everyone has their role in that social media animal ecosystem, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting too because like from what I've heard from different people in the different venues that I've like networked with over the last 10 or so years, the fish hobby is really like having a tough time right now getting to that younger audience and getting people in. And so a
Mm,
lot of the fish hobby is like people who are a little bit older, a little bit more established, and they're
mm.
having a tough time getting that young energy of people in the door to get established. Where like I've met so many kids who are into reptiles, but like they don't really have the same, they do have like aquascaping conventions,
Yes.
and they have like beta conventions and things like that, but it's not as prevalent as like a reptile expo is like all over the place. There's lots and lots of opportunities for kids to get involved with reptiles, but it's a lot
Mm,
smaller, especially in the US. There's like less and less mom and pop pet shops, and it's more just like Petco's and PetSmarts. And so kids have
yes.
a harder time getting that introduction into the hobby of just going in and get a goldfish or just go and get a
Interesting.
betta or something like that. And I think that the social media aspect of that definitely plays into it because there's like lots of big reptile YouTube people, there's
Mhm.
invert people, and there's like a couple people who do like the ones that come to mind are like the giant fish people, but like as far as
Yes.
the other
King
ones,
of
it's much more
DIY.
niche.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely right. I'm surprised that the fish hobby is having a hard time acquiring new audiences.
Yeah.
I thought everyone was into fish, but yeah, that's interesting to know.
I think that part of that also is that like, if you get a spider or a snake, you can pretty much, put it in a tank with like very minimal effort and it'll do
Yeah,
okay. a fish tank is a whole science experiment. You have to look at your nitrates, your nitrate, like you have to test the water, the
Absolutely.
pH, and this and this and that.
So many
And so,
parameters. Yeah.
yeah. So like for a lot of people, that barrier for entry is a little bit higher than it is for other types of animals. And so for the fish hobby, it is, I'm not gonna say it's struggling, but it is having a tougher time right now getting that younger audience involved. It's easier to convince a parent to get a 10-gallon tank with a heat pad and some mulch in the bottom than it
Yeah.
is to say, okay, you need to get the tank, you need to get a filter, you need to get a light, you got to get a pH test, you got to get this test, you got to do this, and you got to acclimate the tank for 2 weeks before you can put anything
Yeah.
into it. And the kid is like, I
So
want to
hard.
fish today. So
Yeah, exactly. It's such a long start process, right? For tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Don't get him started on salt water, because then it's like,
Oh,
okay.
man. I'm so afraid to get into marine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I remember when I worked for a short period of time at Black Jungle Terrarium Supply, they had some corals and stuff like that. So like keeping an eye on salinity levels and protein
Oh,
skimmers and all that extra stuff. I was just like, just give me a guppy, bro. Give me a guppy, please.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. But you know what? I mean, if you are willing to do the work, man, is it worth it.
Oh,
To
absolutely.
have a little piece of marine, like chunk of nature is just, it's like another planet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you have you just showed us a little bit the aquatic setup too.
Yeah. It's right here.
And if I remember correctly, because I try to watch as many of your videos as possible,
Mhm.
you had some leak issues with it.
Oh my goodness.
That was chaotic.
Yes.
And like we're just looking at this tiny little video, and it seems like a very large enclosure. So I can only imagine what it felt like to deal with that. So can you dive into some of those
Yes.
challenges as well? Not to bring up terrible
Yeah.
moments.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. But you know what? It was also a learning experience for me. So when I started this series, I've broken up the series into seasons. So we're finishing up season 3 soon. So season 3 featured the building and development of this tropical wetlands vivarium. So I wanted to do this because I've always been into freshwater tanks and planted tanks. That was my thing during pandemic. Like I loved aquascape and all of that. So I figured, hey, this is going to be cool. I can learn along the way and like teach my audience about fish tanks and etc. So built this, and I had my good friend architect Ben help me with it because he was also a hobbyist, and the tank needed certain, like, it couldn't just be a tank. There had to be pipes and all of this. There's a sub tank at the bottom. So we built it. There was an initial leak during the test. We fixed that. And then a little bit down the line, a huge leak happened where there was just the whole floor was wet. And it was disastrous. I had already added fish inside. I kind of panicked.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, right. And every episode is filmed that week. So it's really a reality show. So it's not like I could have fixed it and like not addressed it. Not that I would, but I realized, I think this is also a good teachable moment, like that this happens in the hobby. And the thing is, all these experts came in. They're like, "Oh, we saw how you silicone this, blah blah blah." But during this construction, I didn't video the whole process, like the sealing and special seals that they used. And I didn't mention that the architect and builders had built tanks before, and large ponds. So that brought in a huge wave of hate, which is okay because I love that people are passionate. And it caused a leak, but we fixed it. And it was something I was kind of grateful for because it also taught me, and also the team that built it, where our mistake was. The thing is, the design of this was a little different from what they were used to. I asked for the building. I asked for this entire front to be like one big glass panel.
Mhm.
Usually there would be certain fortifications that I said I didn't want, mostly because of filming.
Yeah.
And I think that's what caused the front to bow outwards.
Mm.
Yeah. Anyways, that's what happened. Again, adding water to a setup is a completely different thing. Do you guys have any paludariums or water in your setups?
I did fish for a very short while. I had like a
Okay.
75 or a 90 gallon where I had a Polepterus.
Oh,
Yeah, the end of the cherry.
so with a tank and with a filter and all of that?
Yep, yeah, that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I tell.
oh, go ahead, Mikey.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that I usually encourage people to just buy already built tanks. It's just so
Yep.
much easier
Oh, yeah.
than building your own.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was gonna say
Yeah.
when I was younger, I did a lot of work with dart frog species and stuff. So
Oh,
trying to
sweet.
incorporate water features and everything was like a big thing. It was also a
Yeah.
giant point of mental contention for me because as soon as something leaks or doesn't work, you get really frustrated, especially when every other element of the enclosure has come together so well. And that's
Yes,
like
the
the one
moss,
thing.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Azurus? Well, what species?
Azorius and Leucomelis were what I worked with the most, but I loved working with Epiptobates, the Santa Isabel.
Oh, what is that?
So
What color is that?
they're like a reddish brown with these bright neon mint colored stripes.
Oh, wow.
They're really, really cool, and
cool, yeah.
they're pretty bold for a smaller frog
They're like a
species.
thumbnail
Which is
species,
cool.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, but they're
Interesting.
super fun. Yeah, they're super habitual, which I guess you could argue that a lot of the dart frog species are. But if you feed in a specific part of the tank every handful of days,
They
or
will
whatever,
go there.
they'll start to come there. Yeah, around that time.
Amazing.
It's really cool. So yeah,
So smart. Frogs are underrated.
Yeah.
agreed. 100% agree. Yeah,
So underrated. That's
I love
cool.
yeah. Yeah, it was a fun time for sure. And then I tried to do a water feature in this enclosure for the Chihuahua gecko, and that went very poorly. So there is no water feature in there. So when I had it initially set up, it was the reservoir that I had designed wasn't sealed completely, which of course I didn't
leaked.
notice until it was already happening, and then it leaked, and I was like, so much of this is already completed and planted and nice. I'm like, I don't want to have to
Man.
gut this entire thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, we're gonna pause this so I don't lose my mind, and we'll keep it moving.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. All part of the hobby, right?
exactly. I absolutely, yeah, and I absolutely love like living setups, especially when you add the water features and stuff like that. Like I forgot the vendor who was at Tinley last month that had these beautiful living vivariums set up, and one of them had this gorgeous water feature with these big pieces of slate for this waterfall. It was absolutely gorgeous, and I was like, that's a lot of time, but so worth it. Like, so worth it. It looked amazing, and I 100% would have been like, yeah, I'll just buy that because I don't want to make it. So to your point of just buy the already made cage, just do that.
Yeah. It makes a tank feel so zen.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Very cool.
So what's so while you've had all these different enclosures, you're going the supernatural route. So you have all these different elements happening across the board with fungal blooms and different parasites and mites and all this stuff. So what's your marker for intervening in some of those times to help create whatever the next natural event would be?
Right, that's a great question. So obviously with this project of mine, there are like a certain set of code of ethics. Like, for example, Before I even started on this ecosystem vivarium series, one of the rules I established was I'm not going to pit predators together. So my solution for that is to kind of simulate what happens in the wild, where like the larger creatures come in and then they leave. So I cycle through my predators here. So I mean, basically, I use the lifetime's worth of knowledge of all the animals that are in my tanks to try to also not be cruel. So as soon as I moved in, my baby came in, which by the way, like my community was kind of going crazy over, but I wanted to do it because Dingo Dinkelman, rest in peace, came here and he convinced me. He's like, you totally should. It's a perfect setup for it. And I felt like, hey, this is a learning opportunity for me as well to keep crocodilians, which I've never done. So when I moved them in, there were sun skinks, which are like these terrestrial lizards inside that were already living there. And I was starting to get really nervous that the croc, like the croc was still small, but I felt like they could injure each other. So I felt like, okay, this is the perfect opportunity to cycle the sun skinks out. So that's kind of what I do. I don't mix the larger predators, especially if they're vertebrates. But yeah, it's not easy. I try to make decisions that are kind of close to nature, but it's impossible really to create nature in an enclosure. But yeah, again, it's a different experience keeping these. I'm watching one of the sun skinks hunt right now. I'm gonna take you. It's a different experience watching these animals in like their natural setting. Like case in point, look at this. Oh no, he disappeared into the bushes. He saw me coming. Yeah, he was just there. It's a different thing watching them hunt and go through all the decor and actually catch something that was living in the tank for like months, that was born in the tank and had eaten the plants of the tank. So they've got the benefit of all of the micronutrients from the vegetation, right? Because if you think about it, like all of these wild reptiles, they don't have vitamin powders.
Yep.
They don't. You know what I mean? It's their prey that eat all kinds of like vegetation, and the soil is so rich because it's bioactive soil, and it contains like all kinds of stuff that was put into the soil from the springtails, etc. So yeah, that was a kind of a cool thing to see and experience, keeping these ecosystem Vivaria.
That is incredible.
Man, I wish we could have seen that sun skink. It just disappeared. So when I film, a lot of people don't know that when I film the series for the larger animals, I'm behind this thing. It's like a big curtain.
Oh yeah.
And I'm filming like in stealth. Yeah. I'm filming kind of like peeking through a slit like this. And I have to wait so I can get the shots that I need.
That's insane.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's basically like outdoor nature filming, but indoors.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
He's got a blind. He's just like, okay.
Exactly. I got my snacks and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Come out.
So how many different cameras are you using simultaneously? Is it just one?
It's just one. So I have to, oh my gosh, sorry. I'm just using my phone to stream this.
You're good.
Yeah, it's just one. And so if I have to get certain angles, I got to quickly move the camera, adjust settings. If I got to switch lenses, I got to be really fast. Because with animals, you can't really direct them to do things. They're not paid actors.
Yep.
You just have to be there at the right time, right?
The right
To
moment.
catch whatever
And
behavior.
even sometimes the paid actors don't work the way you want them to.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Sometimes they go on strike.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's
So when
that's
you guys
impressive.
film content, your content, it's tutorial based, right? Or
A little bit.
topic based? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
vlogging style?
I would say it's kind of, for me personally, it's kind of hybridized of all of those things. Like there's some
Cool.
things are tutorial based. Like when I film stuff for the tree boas, I'm thinking a little bit more tutorial based because it's a species that just doesn't get a lot of attention as it is. So it's more about
I
just
see.
having access to information. But if I'm like pulling a clutch of eggs from a ball python, I'm definitely thinking a little bit more vlog-ish than
Cool.
information and tutorial, because people know what this is. It's just like, hey, look, I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Yeah, I love watching that content too. You both breed, right?
Yep.
Do
Yeah.
you need a permit in the US to breed? No?
No.
Oh,
In most places,
interesting.
I'm sure that there are some places, and there is some talk right now about USDA implementing some sort of permit system for breeding reptiles, which there's currently no USDA standard for keeping reptiles. So I don't know how they would
I
implement
see. I'm surprised.
breeding
I
things.
thought they would have regulated that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the reptile industry is that it's been so fringe for so long, like this kind of
For
like
so
off
long.
in taboo space. Like
I see.
if
Yeah,
you've been
yeah.
around for 30 years, you've seen it all, but if you're just kind of coming into the
Yeah.
space now, you're seeing this hyper sensationalized element of the industry that is largely focused around breeding things. Like for us in the States, it's ball pythons. So you've got some of these multi-million-dollar businesses that are based in breeding ball pythons, and that's pretty much that's pretty much it. Everything else is just kind of like, I've got this cool tree boa that I bred. Woo! But there's not a huge bit of attention on that. So
I see.
it's really been with the wave of social media and all the added attention that the industry's gotten that we're starting to see certain things pop up and hear rumors about certain things that are less than exciting. Because the industry is so deep rooted now, all these years later, than it was 30, 40 years ago.
Do you feel like breeding should be regulated?
I think it depends on the species. Like what's being bred. Like working for USARC, we're for common sense legislation when things come through. So like permit requirements for large constrictor snakes or crocodilians or venomous, like those things make sense. Like, no, not everybody should have access to a monocled cobra or a spectacled caiman.
Right.
Or they should at least be able to prove that they can handle it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like before Florida lost their minds in regulating things, like they had decent requirements as far as you need X number of hours with this family of animals, before, and they have to sign off on it before you could get your permit and things like that. Like for those animals, that makes sense, and it's like all for that. Outside of that, there are certain states and counties that after a certain number of animals would require you to have some kind of licensure, which I don't necessarily feel like I'm totally against, especially when you're talking about larger numbers. The trick becomes a lot of times the proposed legislation is based in people thinking about dogs or cats. And it's very different keeping reptiles. It's just how it is in general. So that's where things get a little hairy. Yes, absolutely.
Like,
when New Hampshire tried to
you need a permit if you have any more than 8 animals, and the people who breed fish were like, it doesn't specify an exemption for fish. So fish have hundreds of babies at a time. What is? And they were saying you need like a specific number of permits for each like grouping of animals. So if you have more than 10 or 20, or you got to get multiple permits. And they're like, what if I have a fish that has 500 babies. What do I do then? And they were like,
Right.
We didn't think about that. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Or Colorado tried to pass a pet tax, basically, that was which
Oh.
we knocked out. That isn't a thing, but it basically would have been like there's a different price point around all these things. But imagine being a snake keeper, and let's say the tax was $20 per pet, and you were breeding
Wow.
ball pythons and you had 200 ball pythons. That sounds like an absurd number, but if you are keeping in racks and stuff like that, it's very easy to fit 200 animals in a small space. So suddenly you're looking at thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
In this tax that never existed before, that now all of a sudden your business would have to cough up had it gone through. So yeah, it's interesting to navigate some of these pieces of legislation that pop up. Again, common sense legislation, all for it. Permitting systems for dangerous animals, sure, but yeah, we've got to move away from we're looking at it as if it's a dog or a cat, or if you're doing more than this, then you need to have this. And it's like, I get the thought process, but it just doesn't work for reptiles.
Yeah, right. So interesting. Are there such thing as like irresponsible breeders who do a lot of inbreeding, like with the pit bull kind of situation? Does that exist in the reptile?
It's less
hobby?
prominent in reptiles because of the way that their reproductive style is. Like if you breed siblings together or parents.
Oh
to
yeah,
offspring,
inbreeding is different. The genetics
it
of it.
doesn't affect them as much as animals that just produce a couple offspring. Because like certain snakes, like reticulated pythons, can have up to 60, 70, 80 eggs, all different genetic diversity. And so, breed two of those offspring together, it's not
It's
as
fine.
likely to cause genetic deformities
I
as
see.
is in things like rhinos or in cats or dogs or this, that, or the
Right.
other. Yeah.
It's a big thing with mammals, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe that's why they regulate the breeding of mammals more,
Maybe.
like dogs and stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Also, the emotional commitment that people have to them.
That's true. Oh man, and hoarding is such a big thing too in this hobby. Like now that you're talking about like number of animals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's so I always feel bad for them when I spot them on social media. I'm like, oh no, this person is a hoarder.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a serious it's a mental illness sort of thing.
Yes.
It's in that space. So I feel compassion for those kind of people too. I don't know. I don't know why I brought that up. I'm speaking about permits and breeding.
Oh
and all of
no,
that
I was just gonna say Massachusetts has a law that if you have more than two or I think it's three. If you have more than three of one species of animal, you could be considered a hoarder. And I was like,
oh really? Okay, three is three's so small. Yeah, I'm way past that. Oh man.
I passed 3 on my first day.
Exactly.
Like legislation oftentimes is not very nuanced, and they're trying to figure out the smallest amount of lettering for the law to make it cover the most amount of people. And it's
right, exactly.
They say you got 3 of any animal, you're a hoarder, and it's like, 3 ball pythons like that fit in a corner in my room.
3
like that's
goldfish.
A hoarder. As opposed to people who've got 3 Great Danes or
yeah, exactly, right.
Horses in a residential area, it's like maybe a little bit
for
different.
sure. Animals fall into like different categories in terms of like maintenance and like just the amount of resources they require to keep, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like tarantula versus Great Dane, exactly. That's like the perfect example.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and some folks, I mean, it's the other thing that we deal with when it comes to legislation is like oftentimes proposals that are coming through some kind of legislative matter are not drafted by the Congress people or the committee folks. They're drafted by special interest groups like PETA or the Humane Society of the United States,
right.
because they're driven by a different entity.
Yes.
So they're they rely on some of their lobbying relationships to say, hey, we gave you some money. It'd be great if you helped us push this along.
Politics.
Yeah, and we've seen it multiple times where we've called sponsors out for language in their bills, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Like they have no idea that that's language in the proposal, and it's like, "Yeah, guys, like it's right here. It says it right here," and they have no idea. Yeah, no, exactly. Like I took the time to read this. Clearly, you just slapped your name on it and passed it along, but it's impossible for us to then be like, well, they should know. Well, why is the person that's got to know everything about the city's infrastructure and this, that, and the other thing? Why is it their job to also know about breeding snakes or how many lizards you can keep and stuff like that? Like it's kind of the impossible ask, So at that point, it's about educating. Educating the people that are involved in making those decisions and building relationships with them as well. To just be like, hey, like we get why this got brought up, but here's why it doesn't make sense. Like here's the rest of that picture that you weren't given, and you'd be surprised how many times that is enough to make lawmakers go, oh, okay, well, we need to step back and actually learn a little bit more about this.
Yes.
Interesting. Are there any famous U.S. like people in prominent places of government that are hobbyists?
Famous.
We need to elect you, Jeremy.
Yeah. God, no, I don't want to.
And Rob, you guys need to go into government so we can get like moving.
Man, that would government would get shaken up a little bit.
Yeah,
that'd be great. To have a whole reptile set up at the White House. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. Didn't Roosevelt have a pet alligator? Like there was a time.
Did he?
John McCain used to have desert tortoises.
True. Yes.
Oh wow.
There's been folks. I'm
trying to think of who else. If there's any other,
there's famous people that keep reptiles for sure.
Oh, there's famous people.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah, but politicians, not really so much. Not really so much. But sorry, I just saw a comment. Sean said Amazon's in the White House. I would be okay with that. Amazon tree boa is in the White House. I'm okay with that.
All right, beautiful. That'd be awesome.
Right. But one of the things that we do get to kind of play with there is, maybe that senator or congressperson is not a keeper, but maybe their niece or nephew has a leopard gecko.
Right.
Or has a ball python, where it's like, hey, that's maybe you don't understand why we have a lot of these animals, but you have somebody in your family that has a bearded dragon and they love it just as much as you love little Fifi the dog, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
So like there is some value here. Don't laugh at my dog names, Rob.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
I like Fifi. Absolutely. And it makes our work important to make the hobby visible for people in power, I guess. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because they're like, wow, look at all these comments. Look at all these people who are really, really deeply into the hobby. And I think that opens a lot of people's eyes. Like I said, it makes our work important.
Yes.
Yeah.
This podcast is very important.
Absolutely.
Getting information out there.
Yeah. And I think one of the things too, like, again, coming from the legislative background with USARC and everything, like we talk a lot about the financial impact and how the reptile industry in particular is a global industry. And a lot of people just kind of scoff at that because they don't really understand. But when you start talking to cage builders that are sourcing PVC from Europe, or some of the wood that comes in from Indonesia, and all these other things, it literally is a global industry.
It's huge.
Like it's.
I mean, I thought it was huge in the 90s. Like in the 90s, I thought the reptile hobby was massive. No, it like totally is crazy now. Like even color phases that were so rare back in the day, like various colored iguanas. green
Mhm.
iguanas.
Yes.
Man, they're just like everywhere now. Colors
Yeah.
I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
It's really
true.
amazing. The hobby has become such a big thing, and it's
Yeah.
just going to get bigger.
Yeah.
Exactly. If it doesn't get
Absolutely.
banned, it's just going to get bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hope they don't ban it. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think it's funny because like back when I was a kid, I didn't really know anyone who kept reptiles besides like the people. I was like, oh, maybe I can convince one of my friends to get something, or my mom's friend's kid who lives a couple states over. I know that they got something, but when I used to do educational programs and go to schools, I stopped doing that a couple years ago, but every classroom for the most part, at least one kid has like, oh, I got a leopard gecko, oh, I got a bearded dragon, oh, I got a corn snake, oh, my dad's got a couple snakes, or
awesome.
something. And when I was a kid, there was only one other kid in the school I knew who had snakes, and I still know him. It's still one of my friends from my hometown. But there was only one other kid who had a pet reptile besides me, and so like me and him would talk, but like that was it. Nobody else had it. Cats, dogs, maybe fish, but now it's
Possibly a bird. Yeah.
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 It's completely different now. It's a completely different landscape, and those kids are able to network, and they're also able to connect to the greater community through places like YouTube, where they can be a part of your community or follow the things that Jeremy's doing or the stuff that I'm doing, and it connects. It's got a way of bringing us all together in a way that was never possible in the 90s. Like
Right.
not even a thing.
Suddenly, the person across the world is now your neighbor who has like a pet.
Exactly. You
It's
can ask them
shortened the
for advice.
distance. Yeah. Yeah.
You know who I asked
Thank
for
you,
advice when I
internet.
was a kid? The guy who owned the local pet store.
Right. Or walking to the library.
Yep.
That's
Walking
what
to the
I had to
library,
do.
and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna check out the same snake book again?" Yes, I am.
Yeah,
Thank you very
right.
much.
Yeah, exactly. It still smells like your house.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. And then back then we also had reptile magazines. Did you ever
Yes.
get those?
Oh,
Oh, those
as
are the
soon as it
best.
came out, my mom signed me up. I was in first grade when it came out, and I was signed up in first grade reading the articles back then.
Yes, right. That was the source of the info.
Yeah.
So good.
Absolutely.
I miss those days.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
I
I've
know,
been
right?
meaning to ask,
Those
what
are
is
fun
behind
times.
you, Rob?
These are all scrub python enclosures. So I've got
Oh, I see.
these are scrub pythons that I hatched out, and then these are some that I'm raising up, and then I've got a emerald swift up there, and I got some empty enclosures,
Wow.
but it's all scrub pythons mostly.
Awesome. And you're breeding to sell?
Theoretically,
Oh, I see. Sorry, was that a question I wasn't supposed to ask?
no.
Why not?
That's fine.
Rob's
Really?
breeding to hoard. Rob is breeding to hoard.
Okay.
I'm breeding because I love them, and there's not a whole
Yeah.
lot of people breeding them, and so I've just been like
Yeah,
keeping all the little scrub pythons that I produce because I'm so in love with them. They're so incredible.
Interesting. What do you love about them?
They're smart. They're beautiful. They're like constantly problem solving, and they are like they have a very high visual acuity, and so when you're
Interesting.
moving around, they're watching you do stuff. And so if you have a certain way of doing things, they'll learn your habits, and they can.
Really?
Yes. Oh, they're phenomenal. They're the coolest non-venomous snakes I've ever worked with, and I love them. They're just so freaking cool.
Amazing.
Yes.
Cool. Oh, yeah, I was just curious. I'm like, trying to see what animals are
The
behind you.
lights kind of blow everything out and make it a little bit hard for everybody to see them. Hold on, let me see if I can pick this up
Yeah.
without.
That's why
ruining
I thought it was a window when we first started. That's why I was like, wow, it's really
Yeah.
bright out.
There's one chilling up there.
Wow.
There's another one down there.
Oh, they're like mottled. They're like dark. Oh, interesting. They kind of look, I can't really see, but they kind of look like carpet pythons.
So they used to be a group.
They're
of
like gray. Oh, I
They're
see.
like-
Gray, yeah, like grayish brown and black.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're super,
There's a
super
little one
cool
over here.
snake.
Of course, the light is all crappy.
Beautiful. Oh yeah. Oh wow.
And they're really, really long.
Oh my. Yeah, they're like slender.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's gorgeous. Amazing. Look at that stripe. And that's their natural, like that's the normal color phase, or
Yep.
wow.
Barneck scrub pythons. They're the best.
Amazing. Native to,
Southeast Asia.
yeah,
Papua New Guinea.
they look like a Southeast Asian snake.
They're like sarong, like the north side. I think like northern.
Oh, like Indonesia. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
They're really cool. Those are my favorite snakes. So I've got a bunch of those, and then I've got some Highland scrubs, which are like from a little bit further south from that area. But I love scrubs. They're just, and that's what I was saying. They would go so good in an enclosure like that because they like to perch out in the
Yeah.
open, and they're always hanging out and exploring and checking everything out. But they probably would mess up some of those little plants.
Yeah, I'm sure they would. Actually, when you were showing me that snake, I'm reminded of baby reticulated pythons, which I have in my yard, and they
Oh, wow.
kind of look like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they kind of look like that. They sit out, like you said, they just kind of bask.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I find about baby retics, which I'm not sure if this is the case for captive populations, but baby retics are very athletic.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
They
yes.
can jump.
Mm-hmm.
They can like they're so fast.
Yes.
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 Yeah,
Usually they're all
it's scary
heated up.
almost. Yeah. It's really, really amazing.
I would that
so
so
cool.
I'm reading through some of the chat, and some people had asked, so I was going to bring it up. I was like, so you're in the Philippines, and you're
I'm in the Philippines, yeah.
and you're in an area where you're seeing some of the wildlife that here in the States we have or would love to have. So
Yeah.
what's been
Yes.
some of the coolest wildlife
man.
that you've seen?
Okay, so I just actually moved here maybe 2.5 years ago from the city. So I'm still learning the wildlife around here, but
Cool.
because I have a literal jungle in my yard. You see that? That's a thick
so cool.
jungle out there. Yeah. Some of the fauna will come out. So I have seen retics. We also have
We froze.
oh, hello? Did I cut out?
Okay. Yes.
Sorry guys,
You're
I
back.
got too close
You're
to the
good.
window.
You're
Yeah.
good.
So yeah, I've got retics, and then some water monitors will come in from the forest. I believe they're killing my chickens now. Yeah, so
no.
I'll often
No.
I'll find a chicken. We'll find a chicken that wanders too far into the forest, like with its guts all spilled out. So we feel like
no.
that's possibly a water monitor. Yeah, we'll see them swimming in our pond. In November, that's the season when Philippine cobras come out of the ground, like they hatch. So we'll find a bunch of Philippine cobras, which are a spitting cobra species, around my home, like literally just like slithering around. And we tell my staff to just kind of not touch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of ribbon snakes, obviously, all kinds of geckos. We have tokay geckos. I hear them all the time just outside my house.
Mm-hmm.
Love tokay geckos. They're awesome.
They're so cool.
You know Reptiliatus, you guys know him?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dion. Yeah.
He's got such an awesome tokay gecko, and it's so tame. Here you can't do that. They are so scary. They're just so aggressive. But they're everywhere. And they're good pest control. I've been trying to get one and just release one in my home for like all the larger. Oh, we also have really large roaches.
Mm-hmm.
Like I literally don't have to buy dubias, although I do. See, I could literally go out there and catch them, like forest roaches, and feed them to my animals. So we've got that. We have various tarantula species out here. What else? We do have king cobras as well. all kinds of lizards. Yeah. And I'm just this. Oh, sun skinks,
Mhm.
all sorts of ground birds. We have a burrowing owl, like a terrestrial owl here.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Just it never ends. I'm always finding something new. Oh, all kinds of frogs that are just everywhere. They come out at night. Yeah, it's kind of neat. Can't complain. It's you guys need to come here. If you're ever in the Philippines, stay here.
Yes.
Would love
Yeah.
that. Literally, my partner is literally in the comments, like, and I knew he was going to do this too. He said, first of all, he said your enclosures are amazing.
Thank you.
Then he says that he and I are coming to visit, and then he said, "Oh wait, spinning
Yes.
cobras. Never mind."
Yeah. But you know what? I was scared when I first moved out here because I knew they were out here, but they really stay away.
Mhm.
And also, I have dogs running around and they're peeing around. I feel like the snakes smell the urine from the dogs and they stay away. Yeah, so I mean, we've never had a problem so far.
No,
Yeah.
And I've had certain guests come over and they actually go out there looking for these snakes and we never find them.
That would be me and Rob. That would 100%
Yeah.
be me and Rob.
And I will be here at the home preparing your food because I don't really like going out to that forest. It scares me. Hell no, I ain't going in the forest. You guys have a blast. Enjoy. Just call me if you get bitten. We'll like try to find an anti-venom place. Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, you
I gotta
guys.
ask, what kind of ant species do you guys have naturally out there?
Oh man, it's an ant haven out here. And you know what's funny? Like I moved out here for a completely different reason, for like entertainment. So I was doing like TV stuff here, and I thought my ant channel would just like it would die out because I'm like all my ants were back home in Toronto, and I was just like, okay, like I'll do some ant content out here. But little did I know, it's so good out here for ants and for ant keepers because for one thing, we don't have winter, so ants are always active year round, and it's on this side of the world. It's a biodiversity hotspot for ant species. So we've got like some of our famous ones are weaver ants, which make
Heck
yeah, right. They like make these cool basket nests in the trees with their leaves, with larvae silk using leaves. Oh, it's just, they're literally everywhere. It's like
so cool.
they're so common. We have all kinds of stinging species, ground species, Asian bullet ants, which are Diacama rugosum. Yeah, you name it. We've got it out here. And there aren't enough people studying them out here. There are so many new species. I made 3 novel scientific ant discoveries out here, just in this forest alone. Yeah,
That's so
was able to
cool.
do like a new scientific geographic record for one ant, and one ant which might actually be a new species, just from my yard. And they actually also live in here, like an acrobat ant species.
Wow.
So yeah, all kinds of ants out here
That's
for
so
all
cool.
you insect lovers. Yeah. Insects in general, so many out here.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Rob,
That
you
is
know
so
who would probably have a
cool.
field day out there? Trace.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
That would be so
who's
awesome.
Trace? Tell me about Trace.
He's one of my buddies who me and him met on arachno boards a million years ago, and we've kept in contact. He used to work at, I think it's the Oklahoma Zoo for a long time, and then he
Wow.
lives in North Carolina. He lives close by me now, and we're actually going herping on Saturday. I didn't tell you that, Jeremy, but Saturday morning we're going herping. So
Damn it!
Amazing.
but he's really into inverts, and he does tarantulas and just is really into bugs.
Awesome.
And so I'm really into bugs too. Like my whole arm is all different tarantulas and spiders and stuff.
Oh wow. Amazing.
And so
Oh great.
me and Trace would have an awesome time going around looking for bugs out there.
Absolutely. You know, I've realized that Southeast Asia is really a different thing. Like for one thing, out here we have the Bornean rainforest. If you
Oh, yeah.
ever get a chance, book a trip to Borneo. It's an old ancient rainforest, which is older than the Amazon. Like I know a lot of people go to the Amazon. It's basically the iconic rainforest
Yeah.
in the world. But
Yeah.
you know, if you go to the Bornean rainforest, it's such a different thing. It's older even than the Amazon basin and the Amazon rainforest, and all kinds of insects, reptiles. Like you guys know, it's just such a different thing out here. The fauna is so different.
Borneo is my dream trip. I keep Borneo short-tailed
Oh
pythons,
yeah.
and that's been like my passion species since I was like really young. And so
Oh man,
I've always wanted to go to Borneo and just see some of their native wildlife.
absolutely. You must put it on your bucket list.
It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen.
Yep.
Ooh, I'm excited just
Yeah,
for
man.
that.
And the
Right,
last time
right,
I was in
exactly.
Borneo, there was a huge, I don't know what species it was. It was an arboreal tarantula, just like hanging out of our resort, like
Oh,
big, like this. As I was
that's so
live
cool.
streaming for AntsCanada, I'm like, oh my god, a huge tarantula and all kinds of like scorpions and bugs and yeah, reptiles everywhere. Really amazing.
That's
Yeah,
so cool.
make it out here if you can.
Mm,
Heck yeah.
mm,
Heck yeah.
mm.
Yeah, put it on
I
your
love
bucket
it.
list.
I
Oh,
love it.
it's on the bucket list. Now it's just I
It's
gotta get it on
definitely
the
on the
money
bucket
list.
list. Yeah.
Although I've heard that like flights out there are less expensive than a lot of our domestic flights right now. So like
Yes, yeah. So the thing is, what's cool about Southeast Asia is they're all in the same neighborhood. So flying to the next country is maybe an hour flight, and
Mhm.
it's very affordable. So you could easily make a trip to the Philippines, then to Thailand, then to Indonesia. You know, stop over Malaysia slash Borneo,
Mhm.
very easily.
Mm. I feel like I would be like,
Singapore,
okay, I need
Vietnam, awesome animals.
hell yeah. Hell yeah. I feel like I would
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
spend like a bunch of time in Borneo and then sometime in the Philippines and then New Guinea. Like, oh,
It'll blow your mind. Yeah, it blew my mind when I was out there.
West
I
Papua.
remember in Borneo, we stayed at this cool resort on a river,
Yeah.
and they warned us not to go close to the river because there were salties,
Oh my
saltwater
god.
crocs.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh
and
Yes.
man.
like they were just telling us like that just that week some guy lost an arm doing laundry at like his laundry
Oh
at
no.
the city. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Wow.
it's crazy. And this is like a National Geographic award-winning resort. So like tourists are coming in. It's a big thing. But they warn the guests, like, don't wander close to the water. There is a
Snorkeling.
tour for croc watching. Yeah.
Oh, I would
And
do that.
they urge people to
Man.
wait, yeah, for that tour. You leave at 5 in the morning, and it's so peaceful. I actually have a vlog about this. If you type in Mikey Bustos Borneo, there's a whole series. We floated down this river. It was crazy, and it like missed. It was like
Mhm.
out of a horror movie, like a Jurassic Park movie. And we're
Oh,
looking for crocs, and it was so awesome. We were actually trying to spot pygmy elephants. Do you know those? It's like the
yeah, yeah.
smallest species of elephant.
Yeah.
Oh, and it was just unreal out there. Yeah. If you ever go, there are all kinds of tours you could book
Mm.
That sounds
Mm.
like a really fun time.
directly in the rainforest. Yeah.
That is so freaking cool.
That sounds like a really fun time.
I'm very
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't leave anything outside on your balcony because monkeys will come in and like steal your stuff. Or
Yeah.
you can't leave windows open because the monkeys will come in and rummage through your stuff. Oh, it's just really
Oh no.
cool. Yeah. Anyways, we've gone on a tangent now. A Southeast
That's
Asia
okay.
tangent.
That's okay. That's what this is all about. That's what this is
Yeah.
all about.
Why don't mine come out here?
We did have a question from Danny. Let's see. My question for Mikey: how do you deal with aggressive or invasive species? And what are
Yep.
some interesting ant behaviors to observe?
Yeah, aggressive or invasive species. So I'm assuming he's talking about ants
I would assume so.
or
Yes.
anything. Well, like any aggressive or dangerous reptiles, I don't get close to. The only dangerous animal I have currently is my caiman, but he's only 2 feet right now. Uh, so I don't really like to deal with aggressive or dangerous. I have no venomous snakes.
Mhm.
I don't think I would. I don't think I personally would ever keep one. Um, but oh, my green tree python, that's kind of aggressive. So I just
Yep.
don't touch it. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not the kind of keeper that needs to touch. Like that's not exactly my love language with all animals.
Yeah.
I just like to look at things, even if it's through glass. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I don't put that pressure of having to touch the creatures.
Yeah.
When I keep my animals. So that's kind of what I do. Anything dangerous, I will obviously wear protection. Like if I'm gonna handle my caiman, I'm gonna wear bite gloves and stuff. Um, Still haven't gotten to that stage yet, by the way. Um, I'm scared. I'm scared. Yeah, tarantulas and aggressive tarantulas, I won't touch. In terms of like the ant species that sting, again, I'll wear gloves. Fire ants, I've got a huge fire ant colony. I will not stick my hand in there. Just I'll use protection, I guess. Yeah.
That's cool.
That's fair.
And then what was the other question? The other question was,
Interesting ant behaviors.
oh
Yes,
yeah, I
interesting
mean,
ant behavior. Yeah.
yeah, I think my favorite ant behavior are the weaver ants. I mean,
Yeah.
they build nests in trees, which is so cool. And it's such a weird adaptation, really, because most ants are either wood boring or they live in the ground.
Hmm.
So, yeah, weaver ants are super cool. My favorite. Go check them out on YouTube.
They're really, really cool.
Do it. Do it. Heck yeah.
I
So-
feel like it'd be such a trip to see like a nest of weaver ants like up in a
Would
tree.
be so
Yeah.
cool.
So cool. In fact, there probably is outside my window somewhere here. Let me look. So we built our house around some of the trees. You see that? And I'll
Cool.
often find like a big ball of like leaves all glued together. And they're super aggressive. They don't like you coming close. Like sometimes we have to cut these trees and we have to wear full protection because the weaver ants come pouring out and they will like totally bite you. They don't have stingers, but they will bite and spray formic acid in the bite, so it really hurts.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like paper cuts and then putting vinegar in it.
Lemon juice or something. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah,
horrible.
that's basically what it is.
Ooh.
Oof.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's so cool though.
That is super cool. That is super cool. Dang. So I have to ask from a filming standpoint, when you're filming
Yes.
some of your videos, I think most people here in the chat have seen your content. But anybody who's listening who hasn't seen your content, you need to go watch his videos. The quality of content that you put out, I got to know from the selfish standpoint, how much time are you putting in on that, man?
Yeah. I haven't calculated, but it really does take a week or more. Like sometimes I'll be working on multiple episodes all at once.
Mhm.
People have asked me like, why haven't you hired a team? I've tried, but it's, for one thing, no one does it faster than me. And also it takes about a year to teach the style.
Mhm.
And then the other part is finding people who are into animals, because it's kind of easy to get a video editor, but it really makes a difference in the edit when they're passionate about nature and animals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I noticed that right away. Like when I tried hiring a cinematographer before, I'm like, why are you not zooming in on this part? It's so cool. You should like focus on this like spider's pedipalp going into the female's like opening. And he's like zooming back. I'm like, why are you not getting
No.
you know, you can really tell in the edit. Or they rush through a scene. Like there's a certain pacing that matches what you're trying to convey.
Yeah.
So little things like that I found it took a year to train. And even then they didn't stay for very long. They're like, this is too much work and it's too intense. So I've been doing this for so many years now that I'm willing to do the work. And I enjoy it, you know. There are times when I feel like I do need a break. So I can call sometimes on people to come in and do certain edits for me, but I still want to be there through every step of the process from the story making. So what I do is my process is Mondays are my day off. And then because I upload on Sundays, so Mondays I try to like not step away. If ever I'll come in here and just do the hobby and not the filming or anything like that. Unless I see something, then I'll grab the camera and film because obviously timing is everything, right?
Yep.
And then Tuesdays I will start to film. Wednesdays I'll film more. Thursdays I usually have to have an idea as to how the episode will kind of go. If I don't have a storyline by Thursday, I start to panic.
As one does.
Which is basically going through all my shots and reverse engineering a story. So I will kind of go through all my footage and pick out all stories. So that takes me an entire day. It's usually a 7 to 10 page document that I type. And then I go over the edits. I quality check all the information. And then from there, by Saturday and Sunday, all day I'm editing. So it feels like almost like a 40-hour, 30-hour flight. Because I'm literally in the chair, piecing all of it together. Oh, and I have to record the voiceover after writing it. So that takes about an hour or two. And then, just piecing it together from beginning to end, adding the soundtracking. So adding background music, which is part of the storytelling. That also in itself is a different art form, kind of hard to train unless they're into music, right? Because music has to be spliced and all of this. And then it just, I upload on the Sunday, and literally I had just finished the video usually the moment it's uploaded. Like literally, like the hour before it goes live is when I'm done, and I'm often late by like an hour or two sometimes. So it really is a lot of work. Yeah. And when I first started this series, it like killed me. I wasn't used to that intensity of editing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's see how far I can go with this, because it started to trend. And I'm like, I'll try to do this for 1 year and see if I manage.
Yeah.
And that idea was like almost next to impossible at the time. But now it's just kind of in my blood. I can do it, and I got used to the grind. So that's how long it takes. Unless anyone out there, if any of you are cinematographers, you love nature, you're into music, you're into writing, and you're okay having a like totalitarian as a boss, I'd love to take you on.
Well, Rob,
come join the team. Come join the AntsCanada team. Many have not survived.
You get the free Tim Hortons mug with every.
Throw in the Timmy's mug, and we're good.
Yeah, we'll give you free coffee. Yeah, for sure. Did you guys watch the Diary of a CEO, Mr. Beast interview?
No.
I didn't see all of it, but I watched some of it. Yeah.
Right. Mr. Beast said something that I totally related to. He said something like, I don't think anyone, he said something like that his life is so miserable. He can't even, like, what he goes through to create these massive viral videos, he doesn't see anyone else being able to do that.
Yeah.
And which is why he's okay putting in those hours and going through like all the tough moments, the grueling moments that it takes to create these epic videos. He's okay to go through that because he knows that no sane person would be willing to go through all of that.
Yeah.
And I kind of relate to that. I'm like, I don't think anyone would be willing to sit here behind a curtain.
Yeah.
And like just wait for 8 hours for something to happen. I'm okay to put in those hours because I'm happy once stuff is out there, it's out there forever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you can
So
catch that
I'm
magic
willing.
moment, it's like it's worth it.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Oh, and what we content creators, the benefit we have, guys, as like animal content creators, don't you find, is that our stuff is evergreen.
Yes.
Do you know what that means? Like for years and years, it will continue to like live on the internet and acquire viewership,
Hmm.
right? So that's another reason I'm okay with spending the hours per video because I know for generations it will like inspire and teach people.
Hell yeah.
Unlike some of these other creator content where they have to hop on trends and stuff,
Hmm.
right? And then it just kind of dies
As
out.
soon as the trend is gone, that video is gone
Yeah, they've got to
forever.
think of the next trend,
Yeah.
right? But for
Yeah.
animal content creators, we kind of have it good. We could just like cruise.
Yeah,
In our own lane.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Anyway,
I'm here for it. I
another
think that
tangent.
it's no, but it's when somebody looks at the quality of content that you put out, I feel like that's something that we don't often think about. Like for
Mm.
me, like my niche zone has really been like short form content. When I was younger, I used to do a lot more long form content, and then Instagram comes into play and everything, and I'm like, oh, this is way easier to think about. 5 minutes of film, edit real quick, and post, and you're good to go.
Right.
Versus
Yeah,
the
yeah.
hours to make something that's really really locked in like that, and I think that's understanding the dedication to do something like that. On top of maintaining everything that you have going on,
Right.
maintaining the
Yeah,
animals,
yeah.
maintaining life outside of it.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of other
I have
stuff.
a good team helping me care for my animals, though. I should also mention that. So we've
Yeah.
got 8 people who help me with the maintenance. Sorry, someone's
Yeah.
calling me again with my phone.
It's all good.
Um, sorry, I get a lot of spam calls. Yeah, but I do have a team that I do have a team that help me do the feedings, help me with the cleaning. Um, and anyone on my team, obviously, they need to be animal lovers. That's one of the requirements. So they actually love like helping me with these animals coming in the ant room. We don't really touch the vivaria because the vivariums they're ecosystem vivariums, so they're kind of self-maintaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the animals feed each other, I guess. But other than that, yeah, having a good team. When you have a lot of animals, it's almost cruel to have so many animals and just take care of it yourself. Like have one person do all the maintenance because I don't know, unless that's your full-time job, I don't see that being possible and like humane at the same time.
Hmm.
Yeah, which is very fair.
Unless it's like, unless it's like low maintenance reptiles and tarantulas and that kind of thing. You could have like 100
Right.
different tarantulas and it's like they're keeping plants
Yep.
essentially, right?
Yeah. Until it's feeding
But yeah,
day.
so I do have a team until it's feeding day. Yeah, right. Oh man, opening all the little jars and stuff, like
Yeah.
throwing all the slings, right?
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
Do you guys ever get burnout?
Yes.
You do.
Yeah. Usually it's the end of baby season when you got
Yes.
taking care of all of your regular animals
Yes.
that you're used to taking care of, and then you also have, anywhere from 20 to 100 babies on top of your
Oh
whatever
man,
you're
yeah, for
already
sure.
doing. So it's like,
Or 300.
yeah, no, I don't produce that many babies. Like, usually for me it's like 50 babies, and I'm still like, this is too much. What is going on? Why is
Like
there
baby
so many-
snakes.
Yeah, baby snakes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's the baby snakes poop a lot. So you got to clean
Oh,
them
do
more
they?
than you're cleaning the adults. So because
Yeah.
when their metabolism is when they're smaller, their metabolism is more rapid for a lot of species.
I
So
see.
you have to feed them more regularly. They go to the bathroom more regularly, and just ends
Interesting.
up being a lot more cleaning than for the adults.
So it's more than one like pinky a week.
Well, yeah, for a lot of stuff I got, they're eating like small adult mice, like right off the rip. So it's
Oh
like,
wow.
yeah, but they are taking it every 5, 7, 10 days. So a lot of my
Oh
adult
wow.
mice eat once a month, or
Yeah,
depending on
right.
the time
Yeah.
of year. So
Hmm.
it's towards the end of baby season, I'm like burnt out. I'm like, I need to just chill the hell out. I can't do this. Is too much. I don't like doing this. This is too much. I'm like, okay, let me
Right.
Yeah.
get rid of
Yeah.
some of these babies, and then after I move out some babies, I'm like, okay, got a little bit of breathing room. I'm used to keeping this number of snakes, and now I
That's
got rid
right.
of all the extra stuff. So
Brumation period. Isn't that kind of like a break?
I
Like the
only
winter
have
time
like
or
5 individual animals that brumate. All the rest of my stuff is mostly from Asia, so it does not really
I
brumate.
see. Yeah. There you go. We
Yeah.
Asians are so
I
high maintenance.
I have about 50 animals that brumate, so it is a nice little
Oh,
break for me. So
there you go. Right?
it's a little more than a rack unit that just gets turned off, and I periodically check for clean water, and that's pretty
That's
much
right.
about it. So yeah,
And keeping
yeah,
is like
thank
that too.
God.
And keeping in North America is it really sucks. Like as soon as fall hits, and keepers in the US and Canada and Europe, we all like have this depression. But I always said it's like a good break
Yeah.
to just like put
Yeah,
your ant colonies away and then revisit them in February. It keeps the hobby fresh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
right?
I
You
feel
get
like
to
those
socialize,
breaks are
right?
certainly helpful for sure. Because yeah, sometimes the burnout is intense, and if you've got a lot of stuff going on, it's hard to take
Yes,
that break. It's hard to find the time to recharge yourself.
for sure. And you know what? One of the tricks I found, like if you're a content creator keeping animals, is to keep animals but don't video it. Like
Yep.
do it for yourself.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I have a lot of people hounding me about this colony here. They're called the Leviathans. They just kind of disappeared on the channel. They're like, you're hiding that they've died, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, they're so alive, but I'm just keeping them just to
Because I
keep
like
them
them.
because yeah. So I don't have to bring my camera and be like, okay, I'm gonna film this angle. Okay, now this angle. Now I gotta feed them, and this is the storyline because it's easy to make the hobby completely about content creation, and
Mm-hmm.
it's no
Yeah.
longer a hobby, right? And this is why people burn out because of the content creation part, not because of the hobby part. I find
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
as content creators, yeah. So that's
Exactly.
one of the tricks. That's one of the tricks. Like, don't vlog everything. Just like
Mm-hmm.
do it for yourself. If you
Yeah.
find yourself that you must video every part of your hobby, then I think that's when it gets to like unhealthy levels. You're not really doing the hobby for the hobby,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes. I
right?
100% agree with
I feel that.
that. Yeah.
It gets exhausting too because when you're going out and you're doing things with the animals for your own enjoyment, you go about it like almost completely differently than you would go about it if you're thinking of filming for
Yes.
things. Because like when
Yes.
what I've been doing recently is when I've been going herping, I've been trying to do some wild interactions with the snakes. So like I got to think about, okay, I'm going to set my phone up over here, and then I'm going to try and get an angle of me like coming in and like getting close to this animal,
Yeah.
and then I have to be able to talk also and kind of keep in mind where everything the frame is. And most of the time when I'm going out there herping, I'm just like, there's a snake, there's a snake. Man, that
Yeah.
thing's cool. Look at that. Look at what's he
Yeah.
doing over
It's
there?
effortless. It's
Yeah.
completely effortless and just natural, right? Natural mind flow, like as you integrate into nature. Correct. It's not so
Yes.
technical
Yeah. Yeah. I
when
think
you're
that,
creating content for it.
yeah. And that's like, I'm trying to make sure that I maintain that while I'm doing this, because like when I'm going out herping, I just go out because I like seeing snakes. Like, I think it's cool that I can share stuff online with people too, but when it becomes like, okay, I have to go out and I have to make sure that I see X number of snakes today. I got to get this number of interactions. I got to make sure that I get this shot. It's like it takes all the fun out of it, and you're stressed about stuff that should be enjoyable. And a lot of
Exactly.
people don't understand that when it comes to being a influencer or an entertainer or someone online like who's got a presence, a lot of time that is what people expect of you. They just want that entertainment, and they're like, I don't, cool. It's parasocial relationship where they're like, oh, I know so much
Yeah,
about
yeah.
like the things that you're doing, and it's like, no, actually, there's lots that's going on in my life outside of what you guys see in this 5-minute clip or this 6-minute clip. There's so much other things going on, and I'm glad that I can share some of it with you, but also I'm
Mhm.
doing this because I like this stuff.
That's right. That's right. And it actually helps the content when they really see that spark in your eye
Mhm.
and they can hear that like love in your voice for
Mhm.
what you're presenting.
Yes.
Because there are times when you can really tell that the influencer is just doing it for content.
Yeah.
They've just lost that. They've lost that spark. Like even as Canada, when I lost that spark, I was creating content like fire ants react to cow poo. Fire ants react to human snot. And these are like the videos that didn't do well.
Yeah.
Like my lowest viewed videos. Like people can tell that you're just not into it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
It translates.
It absolutely does
Yeah, man.
translate. Yeah. Yeah. And no, if it's like if you love the animals and you love what you're doing, like that's where you fundamentally need to be across the board and at all times. When you start feeling that shift, it's like, no, we're gonna take a break.
Yeah, absolutely. Take a break. I totally recommend that to people.
Yeah.
And do the
I
hobby
know.
just for yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We all used to joke. So like when Rob and I were at Nerd, and we brought Donnie on to do a lot of the content and filming, people used to joke. The people who've known Kevin for a long time used to joke, because they're like, man, this isn't Kevin. Because Kevin would literally show up on social media one day and put like 1,000 photos of things online and little video clips, and then he'd run away. He would run away. You'd never hear from him for months. He wouldn't respond to comments. He wouldn't do anything, but he was really excited to share all of these images with you.
That's awesome.
And then we'd be like, hey, Kevin, it's Monday again. That means we need to try to film something. And like, I'm not in the mood. And he would run away.
He's
like,
such a purist.
okay.
I love him. I love Kevin.
Yeah, same.
So good.
It's definitely one of those things. It's like, okay, bro, I get it. You need a break. The only problem is you need a break every 2 hours. That's
interesting, man.
Content creation is a vicious cycle. So it's like, trying to keep things fresh, trying to keep things entertaining, trying to make sure that you get engagement, and also still doing stuff that you like is such a razor's edge to try and ride.
It's such so a balance. Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. Like people, like I said, like when that spark and love is there, you acquire new audiences and audiences you would never think would be interested in your topic. Like how many times have you wandered on YouTube and wandered into some weird like subcategory of like something, but just there's something about their love for it that is so like magnetic. Yes. Right? Like you could care less about this topic, but they're just so into it, and you've seen that they've dedicated their lives to learning it and becoming masters at it. That is just so fascinating to watch and learn about.
Yes.
Like that's what I love. Like it's like again, I think that's underrated. Like emphasis on showing how much you love something in your content, like that, it really makes a difference.
It really does.
Yeah. I totally agree. Heck yeah. Well, look, I'm looking at the time. We've gone. Usually we're here for an hour. We've almost doubled that, and I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all, because this has been great. As we wind some things down here, we always ask our guests one final question. And so I guess we can tweak this one a little bit, Rob.
Yes.
So typically we'll ask our folks something reptile related, but I guess we
you can ask me something reptile related.
Can it be reptile related? Okay, that's cool.
Absolutely. I'm also a reptile keeper. I've got a ton of reptiles. Yeah.
This is true. This is fair. So what in the realm of reptiles whether it's something that you've got at home, something that you may have seen online. What in the realm of reptiles has you excited about reptiles right now?
Oh, this is a good question. So I, for one thing, I've always loved lizards. Like in terms of the world of reptiles, lizards have, always a lizard guy. I love all kinds of reptiles, but lizard, there's just something about them. Maybe I was a lizard in a past life, but I love the diversity of geckos right now.
Ooh.
Like all
Heck
kinds
yeah.
of geckos that were not available when I first started back in the 90s,
Mhm.
right? Like case in point, the one you showed me before we started this podcast.
Oh,
What was
Chihuahua.
behind you again, Jeremy?
Oh yes, the
What
Chihuahua
species was
gecko.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love
Yeah.
learning about all of these kinds of geckos that I'd never heard of. So I think that is really, really cool. Just the diversity of different geckos available. Satanic geckos, I wish there was a breeder where I live because I would love to keep satanic geckos. They just look so
Heck yeah.
neat. Are they called satanic geckos or
Satanic
satanic?
leaf-tailed geckos.
That's it.
Leaf tail
That's it.
geckos. Yeah.
Yep.
Leaf
Yeah,
tail geckos. Amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. That really excites me. Oh, wait. Another thing. Philippine sailfin dragons. So
Ooh.
let me show you something real
Yes.
quick. I've never been able to keep them until now. And you know who recommended I get them? It was Jay Prehistorics when he came to my place. So I'm going to show you my
Mhm.
aviary now. So I've got a 3-story aviary built in the middle of my home. Do you see that?
Wow.
Yeah, so in here I've got
So
a ton
amazing.
of different birds. See them?
Wow.
There's like
Yeah.
30 different birds in here and it's enclosed. It's a smart aviary. It rains. There's all kinds of plants. And Jay was walking through here and he said, you should get sailfin dragons. I'm like, what? Really? Will it attack my birds? He's like, no, it'll be totally fine. And you know what? He was right. So I have two, a male and a female sailfin dragon. Oh, there's one right now. Let's see if I can get. Oh man, it's right there in the monstera. I wonder if this does this. No, I can't zoom. Anyways, it's there in the monstera. Keeping
That's so
sylph and
cool.
dragons is so neat. I learned so many cool things
That's
about
awesome.
them. One that they eat so many vegetables.
Mhm.
They're
Yep.
actually more
Yes.
vegetarian. They're
Yeah.
more vegetarian than insectivorous. I didn't know this. And then another thing too is I was scared that, they're very famous for rubbing their nose
Yeah.
against the mesh and getting like completely wounded. These no. So I think it's because they really need a lot of space. Like
Mhm.
they really
Yeah.
must climb, like these
Yeah, they
pillars
go up
here,
and
they
down.
treat
Yep.
them like tree trunks. Yeah.
Mhm.
And they go up there and then they hop off and they fall 3 stories down to the ground. I think that's important for their like well-being and their mental
Mm.
state. So anyways, Sylph and Dragons, my current like obsession right now. So
That's
there,
so
that will answer
cool.
your
I'm so
question.
here
Yeah.
for it, dude. I'm so here for
Yeah.
it.
Well, if any of you guys come over here, I'll show you around our compound. And I also have a green iguana pen outside and various other things.
That's so freaking
That's
cool.
so cool.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I love it.
Yeah. I want to release other reptiles in that aviary slowly.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
That's so freaking cool. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank
Right.
you guys. And thank you for having me on the show. This is really great what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. Honestly, we're very excited to have you on the show, and I'm sure that people are going to love this episode.
Yay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wait, one more thing. Can I plug AntsCanada.com?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Guys, visit AntsCanada.com for ant farms that are a step above the Uncle Milton gel farms that you see online. Actually, the gel farms are not. I love Uncle Milton. I love that they all got us into the hobby. But these ones are really designed for ant colonies, like to keep your ants alive. There's this kind, and then there's this dirt setup kind where you can actually watch them dig. So that's all on AntsCanada.com.
Hell yeah. And if
Yep.
people want to follow you, where should they look you up?
Yeah, check out AntsCanada on social media. I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Yeah, so just look for me on there. Instagram.
Hell yeah. That's so freaking
Sweet.
cool. I love it. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank
coming
you
on, Sam.
guys.
Appreciate your
Yeah,
time.
thank you so much
It's
for
been my
coming in.
pleasure. Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Let me know
Sweet.
when this will be up on a link, right? Will it be on YouTube or
Yep.
Yeah, so it'll be on YouTube
Perfect.
right after we're done here, and then an audio only version will go live on all streaming platforms this Friday.
Amazing. Sweet. All right, guys.
Sweet.
Well, thank you so
again,
much. And
Mikey.
to all of
Thank you.
those who watched, thank you so much for the support. It means a lot to me.
Thank you.
Heck
Thank
yeah.
you.
All right. Talk to you later, man.
All right. Bye bye. See ya.